Welcome to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Wieme, a peak performance coach and business strategist dedicated to helping you see what's possible within you, the blind spots that are holding you back, and the solutions to ensure success and fulfillment without the hustle. I use my secret sauce of metaphysics, brain science, and scripture to work with God to manifest your ideal life and business. If you're ready to create massive forward momentum in your business and bust through the blocks that drag you down, join me on the Spiral Up journey and create the clarity, confidence, and consistency to become the CEO that lives your life by design. It's time to create the sustainable impact, income, and time freedom you desire faster. Now is the time to spiral up. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Wieme, and you guys are in for a treat today. Somebody that I have been following, a virtual mentor of mine, Kelly Roach, is here. You guys are going to get a chance to learn from her beautiful wisdom, her heart. You know, if you've been following Kelly for a while, that she has a heart for service, and I know that we are going to be blown away by our conversation today. Kelly, thank you so much for being here.
I am so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Okay, girl. So I, always tell my guests, I'm like, I would so much rather have people hear from you and your heart than me just reading some bio, with my words and my energy. I would rather have them hear it from you. So why don't you tell our audience, those of you guys who have not heard of or have been following Kelly, I would love for you to kind of just tell us a little bit about who you are, how you serve people. Give us your heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm a former Fortune 500 executive, turned 8-figure entrepreneur, wife and mom. I homeschool my daughter jointly with my husband, and now I run a portfolio of companies. My first company that I took over 8 figures was on the Inc. 5000 list, multiple years, and we have subsequently helped many clients of ours actually do the same. So I am a business growth strategist. I specialize in helping people to build 7- and 8-figure companies with systems for scale, sales, marketing, team, operations, and to really do it without compromising the things that are most sacred and meaningful in life. Specifically, I really encourage entrepreneurs to put their faith in their families first in the process of building their empire, so that they can glorify God and live in accordance with biblical principles, but also live to the fullest, achieve to their highest potential, and make the biggest impact and influence, they possibly can with their work in the world.
And so you guys understand, right? Like why Kelly's on the show, because she is so in alignment with everything that I talk about. And I believe also, Kelly, that we should not have to sacrifice our impact for the other things that God has placed in our hearts, like our families. And I just think that so oftentimes, I'm going to just dive right into that we, especially for high achievers, which you are, right? Like as a fellow high achiever, like there's so many things that we want to accomplish in this lifetime. And then at some point, I don't want him to ever look back and say, at what cost? Like I did it because I wanted to be that well done, good and faithful servant, right? And then now I look back and like I missed out on so many things. And so I believe in what I call the and life, meaning that I can step up and steward the gifts and talents that God has given me and be a more present mom and wife and to live that out. And I don't have to choose both. There are times, right, where it's an ebb and a flow and that I have to devote more time and energy towards one versus the other, but I don't think that we have to choose one or the other. Tell me a little bit about what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I mean, I always say I really do believe that you can have it all, but I think that you have to have a great level of discernment and discipline in order to do that. And I think that knowing what your core values are and making every decision in your business and life in accordance with those things will allow you to make sure that you live life with no regrets. And I think that's the biggest thing is, you don't want to look back on your life and, say, oh my gosh, I sacrificed so much of what was important in order to achieve. But at the same time, you don't want to look back and say, oh, I'm so happy that, I did this, this, and this, but I never quite pursued my potential. And it's not in competition. Actually, I really believe that the more deeply grounded you are in your faith and in your focus on your family, the better CEO you become. In fact, 65% of profitable growth companies are led by faith-driven CEOs. And that's not surprising to me at all, given what it takes and what we all go through leading businesses and companies. But I had a big leap of faith this year for myself, taking a step back to homeschool my daughter, because both my husband and myself agreed that our daughter is our most important student. And that especially when people are paying me millions of dollars to teach, coach, and train them, there is no higher priority than giving that gift to my daughter. And that was a huge leap of faith, to take a step back and to decide to do that. But, when you decide your life priorities, you can arrange your business around that. And I can honestly say my business didn't grow any slower this year because I decided to homeschool my daughter. In fact, I think I became a better leader, CEO, more calculated and engineer-like precision in everything that I was doing. And that's what happens every time we make an empowered decision like that. We have to level up and we get more precise in our focus, in where we're placing our energy, and the decisions that we're making. And so I would just encourage everyone to really remove any fear or subconscious, thought that it's one or the other. They can work together and support one another, but you do have to take some leaps of faith, and you do have to be courageous and also very disciplined. And I talk about that all the time.
Yes.
The people that have a lot of freedom are highly disciplined.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't understand that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's very misunderstood.
Yes. So tell us more about that. Like, that is something that you're really passionate about. I want to hear.
Yeah. I mean, that's the number one thing, right? Because I think a lot of people have this huge resistance to being disciplined in execution, because they say, oh, well, I became an entrepreneur because I want freedom. And that goes against this idea that they have about what freedom looks like. But the people that have a ton of freedom are the most disciplined people. It means that they're organized, precise, they have a high level of discernment. Whatever they do with precision. And it's because of the days and times of the week that they're so highly disciplined that they have all the freedom.
Yes.
And until you understand that, you're always going to be on a hamster, like on a hamster wheel, wondering where the freedom is and not having any, because your resistance to doing the things that create freedom are standing in the way.
100%. And I people joke around with me all the time. They're like, Lachelle, you're so organized. And I'm like, I'm not. I actually am not at all. However, I've had to create systems in order for me to be able to manage all the things that I do. And if I have, several companies that I run as well, and, want to be present at my daughter's softball tournament, and I want to be a friend, but I have to be disciplined in the things so that I can have that structure around that. And it actually makes me have more freedom, just like you said, because I can budget my time, my resources, my energy in a way that is most impactful versus just flowing with the wind, right? There's those times that I have given myself permission to do that because I have the structure and process. Then I would love for you to kind of tell us a little bit about how would you guide somebody who's struggling with this? They're like, Lachelle, absolutely. And Kelly, absolutely. I want this freedom. That's why I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm feeling like I'm on this hamster wheel. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a couple things, right? When your business isn't growing, it's because you're usually focused on the wrong things. And I know people hate to hear that. That is the number one thing people do not want to hear, because everyone loves to defend whatever they're working really, really hard on. But just because you're working really, really hard doesn't mean you're working on the right things.
Yes.
And usually when people can't get that breakthrough, it's because they're working really, really hard on all the wrong things.
Yes.
And a lot of times that happens when entrepreneurs are in avoidance of revenue producing activities.
Yes.
And I'm so sure of this. I've helped hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people build 6, 7, and 8-figure businesses. Mm-hmm. And the difference between people that are wildly successful, that are 1% earners, and everyone else in the world, the 99%, is that the 1% earners prioritize revenue producing activities, whether they're an employee or an employer. They're working on skills, they're working on implementation, they're working on execution of things that move the needle. And a lot of entrepreneurs work really, really hard on a lot of back-end things. They're always tweaking their website.
Yes.
They're always working on the next funnel. They're always talking to people about SEO. They're always working on all these back-end projects that may or may not have a payoff 3 years from now. No one's going to your website. Mm-hmm. Someone finds out about you today, what are they doing? They're immediately going to your social media. Immediately.
Yes.
Immediately. And so new entrepreneurs that are solopreneurs typically are spending time tweaking the website, tweaking the website, tweaking the website. I come across people spending $10,000, $30,000 on funnels that never convert.
Yes.
Because they don't have proof of concept in the market. Okay. On websites that aren't getting any traffic. Your website can only do something of service to you if there's traffic to it. And if no one knows about you, it's never going to do anything for you. Right. So these are the little things. And what's so interesting is that revenue producing activities are free.
Yes.
I want everyone that's a solopreneur that's listening to this show right now that's saying, well, I don't have all the resources that you have, Kelly. I don't have the team. I don't have the ad spend. I don't have this. I don't have that. No. Revenue producing activities are free. Going live, free. Recording a story, free. Posting a new reel, free. Messaging a prospect, free. Booking a call, free. So all the things that will actually take you from 6 to 7 to 8 figures are free. They cost you nothing. It's just about honing your time and energy into the things that move the needle versus the things where I see the average entrepreneur who's stuck spends 20 to 30 hours a week on things that actually don't move the needle in their business.
Mm-hmm. Well, money is energy and money flows through people, right? So if you're not having activities that connect you with people, you are going to be spinning your wheels on the things that are just a distraction. And yes, that feels, like you're producing something. It feels like you're busy and you're productive. But like you said, where is the fruit? And we oftentimes are distracting ourselves because it's too scary to have those conversations. It's too vulnerable to show up on social media imperfectly. I mean, I think about this all the time where people are like, oh, I want to start a podcast. Well, how about you just start showing up live? That's free. You don't have to have somebody produce a podcast and get an intro and outro and all the things that go into that. Like, you're totally right. Like, there's so many things that we can do, but there's thinking inside that's holding us back from doing those things.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the things that are performing and converting online right now are the imperfect, raw things anyway. So that's what's even more interesting is people always want to avoid recording the video or going live or doing this or doing that because they feel like they're not ready. And what's so interesting is what is performing online is the raw, real, imperfect stuff. What's not performing is the overly edited, branded, the stuff that people feel like is marketing. They don't want anything to do with it. What they want is they want the person. They want their heart. They want to feel like they're talking to another human being. They want someone that has empathy, someone that has feelings, someone that's been through some of the things that they've been through. So I would really strongly encourage everyone that's listening to really dial into that and realize that your imperfection is going to be the thing that is most attractive. And the more that you try to protect yourself by being perfect, the more that you're actually repelling the people that want and need what you're offering because they don't have resonance with you.
Right. Oh my goodness. You're speaking my language, sister. Like you're speaking my language. I mean, I just held a social media workshop where I taught people how to create a year's worth of content in a weekend. And it was so interesting because I had several people, and this has happened over and over and over again at these workshops, where they'll spend, a 30 minutes chunk of time coming up with the perfect Canva template. I'm like, no, sister, like it doesn't matter what that template looks like.
No one's going to click on your Canva template. They just want you with your dog, talking about how you spilled coffee all over your shirt this morning and the lesson that you learned from that and what you're doing because of it. Like it's so interesting, but that is great, great, great news for people that are just getting started because, and I say this all the time, it is truly a level playing field right now, especially even with how social media has changed now, where because all the social media platforms are using AI now, they're actually just sharing the content based on the keywords that you're saying, the topics that you're covering, etc. It's not limited to your fans or followers anymore. So that's a super interesting dynamic change that's happened where it used to be that only the big influencers and only the people with millions of followers could get traction because they had a huge following. Well, now they've completely flipped the script where a new creator can get discovered and a new creator can have just as much traction as someone that has 1 million followers online if they're talking about relevant, meaningful topics in a powerful way that is resonant with the market.
Yes. Oh my goodness. That's so stinking good. And I find that, the people that I've helped and the people that I've, coached over the years, I guess, one of the biggest barriers that I've seen is our inability to make a decision, right?
Yeah.
We either overthink things or we don't know how to prioritize, or, we allow perfectionism to get in the way of making an empowered decision. And that's really what you're talking about here, is giving ourselves permission to stop overthinking and to make the decisions and to have the discipline, because discipline is allowing us to do things without having to make the decision, because it just is. It's just who I am as I show up, and it's what I do today. And so what I would love to hear from you is just give us some insight into, as a solopreneur, like, all right, Kelly, like, what should I be doing? Like, what are these income producing activities that I should be focusing on so that I can stop overthinking? And where do I need to place my discipline?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great question. And you know what? I'm going to give you a little snapshot, and then I'm going to give you a resource that you can share in the show notes afterwards that actually goes over this, because I teach something called the Miracle Hour. Now, I developed the Miracle Hour when I was a corporate executive working a full-time job, 60 hours a week, and starting my business as a side hustle. Now, that business, I still have that company today. I grew it to 7 figures while I was still working in my corporate job. And then as soon as I left, it took me 18 months. I went from 7 figures to 8 figures in that company. Still have it today. Now I have 5 other businesses. Okay. So I had this little index card that I would carry around with me everywhere I went. And what I put on the index card was, this is what I can do if I have 30 minutes to grow my business. This is what I can do if I have 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute. Because I didn't have a lot of time to grow my business. And I had to figure out how I could take clear, specific actions in short windows of time that were going to get me new customers, because I was an early stage entrepreneur. And that developed into what I teach today, which is the Miracle Hour. And the Miracle Hour is 7 core activities that any entrepreneur can and should do every morning in their business. And in fact, my entire sales, marketing, and service delivery team across my companies gets on Zoom every morning at 9 a.m. and does the Miracle Hour together. We teach this inside my virtual business school, and people are getting just astounding results. And what I tell people is, if you do the Miracle Hour, you can probably eliminate 20 to 30 hours a week of other stuff that you're doing that just isn't doing anything. So what do those activities look like? Very simple, right? The first thing is, you're going to post in the morning, because that's turning the open sign on for your business. If you don't have a brick and mortar location, the only way people know, hi, good morning, we're in business and we're welcoming new customers, is if you let them know. So you start off with posting. You put something up in your stories. You do a sweep of your inbox. You move conversations forward, people that you've been going back and forth with. You send welcome messages to the new followers that you've got on the different platforms. You sweep the threads that you have, and you respond to every single comment. We use one-word marketing. That's like the top strategy that's working online right now to get people to opt in, sign up for your newsletter, sign up for your masterclass, your launch, live stream that you're doing, so on and so forth. So it's just really basic stuff. But a big part of the Miracle Hour is making offers, which no one does.
Yeah.
Right?
Tell us a little bit about
everybody wants their business to make sales every day.
Yes.
No one wants to make offers so that people buy from them every day. So what we train people to do in the Miracle Hour, is how to take people from conversation to conversion. And how to make those invitations. And so if it's high ticket, it's going to be booking calls. If it's low ticket, it's direct to offer. And it can be a combination of both. But it works. It is astounding when you see it work. And again, it's really about basic fundamentals that are free to do. And I want to keep emphasizing that, because I think the story that we tell ourselves is, I need more money. I need more resources. I need a bigger team. I need. No. What you need to do is you need to simplify your focus into activities where you are directly connecting with other human beings.
Yes.
And I call this mic time. And you see the example of this because I'm on this podcast with you right now. I'm behind a microphone. If you want to know what are the most powerful things that you can do to grow your business, it always lives behind a camera and on a microphone. So whether that's recording a story, recording a live stream, doing a masterclass, conducting a launch, going on a podcast, doing a joint session with another entrepreneur to collaborate and cross-pollinate audiences. The most powerful thing that you can do to grow your business is to interact with the market.
Yes.
And why it's so important for me to share this and why I keep repeating this over and over and over again is that all the messaging that everyone has heard for like the last 10 years is like passive income, automation, digitize, now it's AI. And it really does a disservice to new entrepreneurs because here they are spending all their money and spending all their time trying to systematize a business that isn't even running yet. You can't systematize something that isn't yet working.
Right.
And so it's such a disservice to entrepreneurs to teach them these things that, yeah, like I work on systemizing things in my business that I've had for almost 12 years now. Like, okay. But in my business that's a year old, we're 100% execution. We are just like drive, interact with the market, be market facing. Like you need to know where your business is at and what types of activities are actually supportive to you in that season. Does that make sense?
It totally does. It totally does. And I think that that's definitely where a lot of us want to just get ahead of the game. And that doesn't mean that you're not systemizing your structure of your day, right? Like you just said, you have your miracle hour. Like that is a structured 1 hour of your day that you're doing income producing activity, guys. That's a system. That's a habit.
Absolutely.
Building. But that doesn't mean that you have to focus hours and hours and hours on a funnel.
No, right? and the thing is people, I mean, that's a whole nother podcast for another day, but you know, people, 64% of people at the beginning of 2024 said they only want to buy from someone that they feel like they have a relationship with. I guarantee if we looked at updated status on that now, it would be significantly higher. Yeah. And the more that AI comes into play and the more that people are turned off by AI written content and funnels and being sent through automations, and you can't call a business on the phone and get a real person. And now people are putting all AI bots in their programs to serve people. Like, I get it. I get the desire to like get ahead and to like automate and all of these things. But as a business owner, your highest priority is to be of service.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Your highest priority is not getting yourself out of the business. Your highest priority is to help the people that you sold a promise. It's to deliver on that promise. Like that is the purpose, getting customers and then serving them. Right. And I think what happens, especially in the online world, is like you get so much mixed messaging that it's really hard for people that are trying to find their way to be like, well, what is actually important? Like, what am I actually supposed to be doing? Right? Because every day you're getting all these messages. Every third message in my feed right now is, if you're not becoming an AI expert, you're going to be left behind. And I'm like, okay, I heard that since 2012, every 5 minutes about every new thing that came out. I wrote a book about it. It's called Conviction Marketing. And the whole book is about how I bucked the system and built an 8-figure company without participating in any of the trends, without participating in any of the fads, without doing any of the stupid, ridiculous nonsense that people like, the skits and the this and the this and this. I showed up. I added value for people. I was wildly consistent, and I made offers.
Yes. Yes. I mean, that's just it, right? Like money is literally just an exchange of services given and services perceived. And so what can I control? I cannot control the social media algorithms. I cannot control what somebody else is doing with what I have. What I can control is my services delivered and making as big of an effort as I can for them to perceive the services that were given. And that exchange of money is going to continue. I mean, the biggest revenue stream that I have coming in with my clients is through referrals. Why? Because I deliver what I said I was going to deliver. And if we get so caught up in doing all the things, then we're going to end up dropping balls. And that's one of the things that I teach too. And I love that we get to align with this, Kelly, is because yes, there are a gazillion things out there that we can do. And yes, if you're a consumer of social media, you're being bombarded with all of these things. So then I'm going to just say that what I can resonate with you is when I was working in my full-time anesthesia career and building my business alongside it in my side hustle, I was completely landlocked for time, right? Like could not guarantee when I was going to get out of surgery that day. I had family obligations. Like it was exhausting. And so what did I do? This is the old Lachelle, right? The old Lachelle was so stinking coachable that I'm like, oh, well, if that strategy is going to work and that strategy is going to work and that strategy is going to work, I'm going to do all three of them. And I'm going to do them twice as much as what they're telling me to do. And that's going to get me there faster. All that did was it made me less effective, and it made me completely burnt out. And then my energy, my vibration spiraled down, right? And now I'm not going to attract anybody that I want, because why would anybody want what I have if I'm burnt out and stressed out, right? And so it really comes back to the discernment. And I teach this to my clients, is that I want them to understand that we just get to pray and tap into our highest self, our source, who's going to guide us on the right strategy for us. That means that, yes, there are a billion strategies that are out there that are working. And if you allow every guru to tell you what to do, you're going to get caught in the rabbit hole of the guru instead of knowing what your inner guru is telling you to do and what works for you. And that's what you've done over and over and over again, is trusting yourself instead of chasing the gurus. Being honoring of your discernment and following through consistently.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. And, one of the best things that I did for myself like 7 years ago was I stopped following everyone in my industry. I stopped consuming any online content. I read like a book a week. And it's funny because people will always come to me and be like, do you know this person? Do you know this person? Do you know what this person's doing over here? Do you know? And I'm like, nope. I'm over here doing my own thing. I'm trusting my intuition. I'm like in my prayer life. I know myself. I focus on obsessing over solving the problems in the market for my people. And it works. And so, yes, to everything that you just said, and not abdicating your power, you have to have self-trust and discernment. And there is a role to play for like getting mentorship and getting coaching. It's one of the first things that I did when I started my business. And if I was starting over today, it would still be one of the first things that I would do. But you can't have 18 people that you're bouncing around. You have to pick someone that, one, has built what you want to build, two, that you align from a value, moral, ethic, lifestyle perspective. And then you need to focus. And that's one of the biggest problems that people have, is like they're just listening to too many different voices. 100%. And so it all gets jumbled up and then it doesn't produce anything.
Yes. Okay. So I want to go back to something that we talked about with the whole conversion thing, because I think it ties into the busy work and when we feel like we're busy, we feel like we're productive, right? But then we wonder why we stay in the inspiration zone, and we don't actually convert. And I love dealing into the mindset of all the things that hold us back from having that conversation. But if you're not having that conversation and actually offering what it is that you could do to help somebody, you're making it about you and not about them, because ultimately at the root of our conversation today is service and how we want to serve people. So if you are not offering a way to serve people, then you're not doing them any favors, and you're definitely not doing yourself any favors. You're going to get sucked into I got to post 5 times a day, but it's not going to do anything if you're not actually having the conversation.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's exactly it. And that's it. And I mean, it's always simplify to multiply. And what the clients that I've had success taking to multiple 7 and 8 figures, they understand that the mastery level is taking the fundamentals to the next level. Whereas a lot of people that struggle to grow, they're working on these very advanced strategies, but they don't have the basic fundamentals. And so they're never going to grow.
Right. Oh, 100%. I mean, that's actually a change that I made in my business, I don't know, maybe a year ago, where before they ever even get access to these higher level strategies, they have to go through the foundations of success that deal with the 7 biggest roadblocks and mindset blocks that I see people have. Because if you don't deal with that lack of clarity, if you don't deal with that lack of confidence, if you don't deal with that lack of courage, you're not going to be able to execute the strategy. And if you don't execute the strategies with that mindset behind you, it's not going to work, right? You're not going to make the decisions, the empowered decisions that are going to make that work. So Kelly, what would you say to somebody who's like, oh my gosh, like that's me. I've been posting 5 times a day. I'm getting likes. I'm getting some comments. I'm not building my business. I just feel like I'm just running on this hamster wheel of busy work. What would you tell that person? What truth with a hug do we need to give them today?
Yeah, I mean, what are you doing to convert them, right? And so whether it's master classes or live launches or whatever the case, you are doing activity, but you're not moving them to the sale. And so you have to say, what can I let go of? What can I stop doing? What can I put on pause? What can I let go of for now? And create space and create focus and create energy in the business to move people from conversation to conversion. And there needs to be a conversion event. And a conversion event needs to happen every single month, right? If you look at brick and mortar businesses, if you look at businesses outside of the online space, there is something happening every single week. There's a sale, there's a promotion, there's a product release. There's something special happening every single week that gives people a reason to buy now. And it's only in the entrepreneurial space where people are like, yeah, I'm going to post and they'll come. And people don't even know what to do. They don't even know where to go. They don't know what the next step is. They don't have the link to your offer. Like, we're just expecting people to sell themselves into our programs. That's not normal. That's not how actual business functions, right? That's why when you look in the brick and mortar world, I came from corporate, there's outside sales teams that they sit there and they make phone calls and send emails and book appointments all day, every day. And those are companies that have billion-dollar budgets. Okay. So if you're a small business owner and you just think they're going to come to you, that's not a good strategy, and you're going to burn yourself out. And that is the number one reason for entrepreneur burnout. And it all gets dressed up in all these different ways of why people burn out. No, people burn out when they're working on the wrong things and they're running themselves into the ground. Because they're not doing the handful of things that will actually move them forward. Because you can keep doing more and more and more of all these other things over here. And no matter how much more you do, you're never going to see progress. So until you align with the things that move you forward, you're just kind of digging a hole. And that's why so many people burn out, because they are working really, really hard. They are putting in the hours, no doubt about it, but they're putting in the work and putting the hours on things that are never going to get them to where they want to be.
Right. And I, like we talked about before we started recording, like, I just am a nerd when it comes to all the buts that get in our way. Right. And so you might be hearing us talking, you guys, and you're thinking like, but that sounds super complicated. Like, I don't know how to do a conversion event, a live launch, all of those things. And Kelly, like, it doesn't have to be hard, does it? Like, a simple work.
I mean, first of all, I have a book that I wrote on the live launch that you can get on Amazon right now, that I have had multiple people come to me and tell me they've made over $100,000. It takes you about an hour to read the book. Okay. So none of us get to have an excuse that it's too hard, too complicated, or too expensive to do a conversion event. The other thing is if you're just, so grab the live launch book. You can put a link in the comments to that. But even like, let's take it even simpler. Like, anyone can go live right after listening to this podcast today, teach some value, give some action steps, give some specific clarity around the problem that you solve and how you help people, and then invite them to book a call or invite them to get started with your trust building offer. It doesn't need to be perfect. You just need to get into action. You just need to get market facing and get your offers in front of people. People can't buy something that they don't even know exists. And I think that is like, I can't tell you, like, I'm a very aggressive marketer. My background is in sales. I love to sell. I believe selling is the highest form of service because it's championing someone to their highest potential. So like, I am a very forward-driven, marketing-focused person. And I will tell you, every time I bring a new product to market, or every time I have an event or this, that, or the other, I may have posted about it or gone live or done a story 40 times. And I will still have customers come to me and say, wait, what? You're doing what? No, I don't know anything about that. And we're like, we sent you 7 emails. I did 40 posts, went live 3 times, did 10 stories, because such a small percentage of your audience is seeing anything that you do. So you just cannot assume that they know. They don't.
And people are not, you're not coming across as spammy or salesy unless you have that energy and intention behind you guys. So if you can tell yourself, I am showing up, I'm not making it about me, I'm making it about them. This is how I can help you get from where you are to where you want to be. This is how I can solve your problem. Stop making it about you. And I always joke, I'm such a history nerd, right? So like, went back in the olden days when we had like a Sears catalog and that's all we had. it was easy to make decisions, but now we're bombarded with things in social media and TV and all the things that it takes a repetition. It takes a lot of just exposure to be able to get through the noise. And you're not salesy unless you send that energy out. I don't know. It's
100%.
so interesting. You guys, oh my gosh, this has been such an amazing conversation. Kelly, you have a wealth of knowledge. And what I love about you more than anything is that you just want to serve people through your wisdom, the things that you've learned yourself. And you're like, oh my gosh, you guys, like this doesn't have to be just me. I want all of you guys to win. And I want all of us to build this beautiful impact. And I want to just point something out, you guys, because as you all know, I see blocks all the time. So I want you to hear from Kelly's heart. Like you can see her if you're watching on YouTube. She's got the biggest smile. She's got the most beautiful warm energy, right? And she's a very successful, wealthy entrepreneur. And she's a believer. So the impact, the philanthropy that you can do when you allow for God to bless you through your business, to allow him to bless the people that you help and yourself, it's such a beautiful, beautiful future that you have in store for you. So stop getting in your own stinking way. Stop feeling like I'm not supposed to be successful in that way. Watch people like Kelly and see her spirit and her beautiful impact that she's making. And the fact that she's building wealth is helping her create bigger impacts, you guys. And so let those of us that are showing you the way that you can do it right? And allow for you to bless people because you're massively successful. So
I love it. It's so true. I really do believe that you can have it all. And I think when we put our faith and our family first and we build empires that honor and glorify God using our gifts and our talent, it's just such a rich and fulfilling life that just has a ripple effect that will span beyond you. So I would just encourage everyone to just take imperfect action, treat everything like a test. It's just a learning opportunity and just keep putting one foot in front of the other.
That is amazing. And you guys are going to make sure that we have all of the resources that Kelly has mentioned in the show notes so that we make it super, super easy for you. We, of course, would love to see your reviews and show up in our stories. Tell us how this resonated with you, what you took from it. Let us hear from you because we want a relationship with you, don't we, Kelly? We want to hear from you guys. And so make sure that you're connecting with us. Absolutely. Kelly, is there anything else that you wanted to mention before we wrap up this conversation?
No, I mean, I think just the world needs more light in it. And so each of you are being called forward to lead.
Yes. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I hope that you all got as much out of this conversation as I did. And we have an amazing impact to make, you guys. So take this lesson from her, get into your miracle hour, start making steps that are going to create that impact, get the discipline behind it, and watch your business grow. All right. Bye, everybody.
So much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Each honest review helps me spiral up so that I can serve you even better. Whether you're feeling a lack of impact, income, or time freedom, or perhaps you're just ready for massive momentum in your business, let's chat. Apply for a breakthrough call so that you can gain clarity, identify what's holding you back, and make a plan to spiral up. Head on over to iam-lifebydesign.com/breakthrough or access the link in the show notes. For immediate support, plug into our community, the Better Club. We focus on inspiration, tactical guidance, and support. This is a community that wants to be better, do better, and have better in life and in business, and we're going to help you do the same. Let's spiral up, friends.